Let's explore end of Geology Creek here today, January 5th, 2020. We've been looking at the banks before, but you can see this straight line seam that goes across, right? Then, if we follow it, it disappears for a while but reappears here, okay? And then becomes a double line seam that goes all the way up to the very top of this multi-layered object. If those were sedimentary layers, that seam, that double seam would not be able to go through all those at the same spot. Therefore, we know this is artificial building. We do have a diagonal seam which matches the diagonal seams we've found in other locales, in the Fojnica River in Bosnia. So we've got a rather strong straight line there, right? So you can see this diagonal seam. And you can see the stepping down, by the way. Right here, that's concrete. It's concrete with moss on it. So that's that layer that goes across. That's stepping down, right? So they stepped it down. Stepped it down. You can see the stepping. They stepped it down in a regular way, not perfectly right angle. It's not a Roman right angle job, but they stepped their creek down. See how they stepped it? Pretty obvious here. Now I want to measure one more seam because there's another seam here that I didn't measure. So we measured all the way to this one from the left to the right, but then we didn't measure to another seam. So let's see if we can find another seam first. So we've gone about 15, 20 feet, maybe more, and we found the seam. So here it is. And before we measure this section here, okay, I just want to show you again the smoothness of the sides. Not perfect Roman, Grecian, right angle smoothness. But, right, a feeling of being built and an understanding that nature would have no reason to create fractures with this kind of regularity here, right? This regularity. If that's a fracture, it won't go through different sedimentary layers, different eons, as the institutional geologist would call this. Instead, what we have is a line that's essentially straight, even though they're not perfectly straight. And it's a vertical seam that's joining the material together with smooth interior faces. When I say smooth, I mean imperfectly smooth, smoother than one would expect from fracturing. That's all I mean by that, okay? And that lets us know that this is building. All right, that's 3 feet. 6 feet, 9 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet, 18 feet to right there, 21 feet. And really that's the measurement to the next obvious seam, which is here. That's a seam. The problem is that this seam doesn't continue on up there. So 21 feet to there, to that seam, right? So 21 feet, 25 inches to this main seam there. So that's our biggest section so far. So we measured that whole creek bank, each section, from seam to seam, and this last one, which starts just about the left of frame, just about there, goes all the way here. We're going to measure the next section too. That's 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet. Now we're looking for the next section, 12 feet, 15 feet. Haven't found it yet. Okay, well there's no section line. So this whole ending area, this whole peninsula, let's call it, is one section. So that was 15 feet and it's going to be 25 inches. Okay?